I am officially retiring from the NFL and Green Bay Packers, and I promised I wouldn't get emotional.
Why do you think you went back and forth so much?
There's no way I can explain to you the feeling, because it's only happened to a few guys. But when you're 40 years old, 37, 38, 30, whatever, and you lose a game like Peyton lost or I lost against New Orleans, the last thing you want to think about is football, even though that's the only thing you're going to think about, unfortunately. You're going to think about what you should have done, how you could have done it. The redemption part of it comes to mind, like we were so close, I know, but do I want to put myself through that again and have heartbreak yet again? Do I? Do I want to go through, do I want to start over and do all this again? And then you stop and you go, and can I do it daily and physically like I want to do it?
You retired, and then June 2008, you called the Packers head coach up and say you want to come back. What was said on that call?
Not a lot on my end. Mike was not too happy, but understandably so. They had gone in a different direction, as you would imagine, and I threw a kink into the whole situation, because the off season is not necessarily off season. You're preparing for next season, and you're kind of correcting and doing all the things that happened the previous season. Well, you can imagine, I'd been there 16 years, and now you're shifting gears. I mean, this is a big deal and going in a different direction with a different quarterback and probably a philosophy to a certain degree. So that was more or less what, Mike was saying in his way. And of course, there's two hard-headed people on the phone. I felt like I could still play, and I was wrong for retiring early, but I should have known, and he should have known. That was my thought process.
How much did you feel like you were forced into making your retirement decision initially
when
in
you
the
let
first
your
place?
emotions, rather than stopping and thinking, which is what I should have done, you don't do that. And I can only speak from my end. I should have stood my ground and not retired early. And gave it more time.
Stood your ground, what do you mean? There was pressure?
Well, Mike wanted to know, and that's as the head coach of the team, or Ted Thompson's job as a GM. I think rightfully so. They need to know which direction they're going to go in. But there was nothing in the rule books that said I had to give them an answer until the day of the training camp. Quite frankly, I could, day of training camp, say, I decided I don't want to play. That'd be kind of a cruel way to do it. Like, you could have told us early so we could have prepared for this. Or, I could retire early and then have 4 months to think about it, and then all of a sudden, right when training camp starts, I could go, I kind of want to be there. I remember saying, Mike, if you really want an answer, right now I'm not 100% committed. I cannot commit. If you want to know right now, I'm not 100%. Can I be all in? No. Could I be in July? Maybe. But that's not an answer that was doable. So I don't blame them. I mean, yeah, it was bad for a while, and pointing fingers and all this stuff, but that's really how it went down. I mean, there was a better way to handle it, but it all worked out.
What was said in that several-hour meeting that you had in Green Bay?
Well, again, I don't want to stoke the fire, because it is what it is, and everything is fine now, because time heals everything. And I think for me, I felt like I admit that I was wrong in it retiring early, I was okay with the fact that they wanted to move on in a different direction. I really was, but I felt like, I think for me, it was like, I'm not good enough to play here, but I'm too good to play against you mentality. That's kind of how I felt. That, you know, they didn't want to cut me because anyone could pick me up. And yeah, I could compete for the job in Green Bay, which was that was fine, but I just felt like I was not going to play there because they had already gone in a different direction, if you know what I mean. Even though they were not going to cut me if I put them in that position, and I was wrong, and so that's kind of what we talked about in that meeting, and there was no easy resolution, put it that way. It's catch-22, you know, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I saw it more from just a selfish standpoint, like what.
Well, you felt, I mean, based on the success you'd had there, and for the 15+ years you'd had it, that you'd earned that right.
Yeah, and in the business world, that's not necessarily the case. Yeah, you may have been our best salesman for years, but you know, you're getting old. You don't move around like you used to. You're good, but we have to we can save money and see what our young guy can do, or we can hang on to the old mare. And so, I mean, but it's all good now.